YNet7, thank you for tuning. Thank you for tuning. All right. So let me get the background music back on here. So look, guys, I appreciate this run and everything, and I'm really grateful. I'm actually really excited at the same time because I know how I got here and I take full ownership for it. I know I'm not one to really speak about uh, stuff so much that's going on because when you're American, you deal with certain things. Like when you're American versus a United States citizen, the fight is ongoing. And, I've been fighting this battle for a decade in some way, shape, or form. Actually, more than a decade. And we choose our lives. Like I was just I wasn't talking to him, but I just sent something, and I was replying to something they said on Facebook, and it was like, yeah, we each choose our lives, right? So I know the life that I chose, so I never really deviate from it. It's always a perfect day. Um, you've been following the channel. Those that know me know, like I'm always the one that stand up for everybody around me, um, quality of life, myself included. And when you take a look at like my resume here real quick, there's times when it goes well. Like when I was at 3M, for example, um, I was able to. One of the things I'm most proud of, aside from the leading $1 million project and other stuff like that, and running a maintenance department and doing engineering work without any degrees or experience, just from my analytical skills, and taking it to a level that it wasn't at before, increasing machine uptime by 7%, all kinds of crazy stuff, because that's what I'm used to. I'm used to overachieving. It's part of why people hate you. Some people. But when you look at this, like when I was there, I was able to do things like justify why the company spent $10,000 a year on bottled water, for example. So all the techs, basically all the employees there, could have access to free bottled water because we were in a production manufacturing plant. So temperature swings, hot, cold. You want to remain hydrated. Quality of life. So I was able to put together the whole presentation, the package. I came up with the idea. Went through the process of getting it approved. Got it approved. Got free bottled water for all year long for all the employees. This is the type of stuff I do that you may never hear about. I don't even think. I mean, in the beginning, like people come and they say thank you. You know what I mean? But like a year or two down the road, they don't remember that you did that for them. You know what I'm saying? They don't remember that you put your name and reputation on the line for them. So that's like what it is. So I've been like that my whole life, fighting for people. Like you heard the story about when I was at Discover, and I'll get to what I came here. Let me show you what we're gonna be here for today before it gets too long, so you can know. I won't be too long on this, but let me show you. This is what we're going to get into here. Actually, hold up. Not that one. This one. All right, so we're gonna review this in its briefly in its entirety, and talk about the cause and effect for standing up for your rights as an American in the United States corporation. Oh, here. Excuse me. Yeah, so this is what we're gonna cover today. So just give me 1 second. I'm giving you like the preface to how we got here. So when I was at Discover, right, you know, I was the one that I got terminated way back then in early 2000s for standing up for the life of someone who passed out in a meeting that we know, and they wanted us to not be concerned with their well-being and get back to work. And my response was, well, if you're not worried about a life here, we are. And they used that as quote unquote insubordination, and that's how I got, you know, I was relieved from that position. Now what occurred here was I was at Securitas, electronic security, doing, you know, like a ADT or something like that, right? Basically doing project management for installs. By the time I left, for installs, electronic security for commercial applications. And they also threw me on in a situation that I guess nobody else wanted, where I had to manage the installs for federal judges in Tennessee, DC, Virginia, North and South Carolina was the territories. It's kind of interesting being an American in that situation, dealing with directly talking to U.S. Marshals and shit like that. But I'm used to that, because being an American, you also know your rank in the system. So I had no worries. So what happened was I was in a culture at that place where everybody was depressed. Everybody was damaged in some way, shape, or form by the nature of the job. And me, I'm always the type, like I said, to look out and try to improve things. And it always starts off with people saying, you can't do nothing about it. It's always been like this, that, and the other. And you know, 80% of the time they're right. I mean, excuse me, they're not right. 20% of the time they're right. But I find that 80% of the time in my life experiences, it takes time, but I'm able to make a difference and make the impact and make the change. This is one of those times where it backfired on me. But what happens is, when you're standing up for human rights and humanity and the quality of life, and being an American in the United States, like I said, you're fighting battles every single day. You can't even talk to your neighbor, really, in some cases, because they're brainwashed and programmed by the society that you're actually fighting against. So a lot of people don't realize just how deep the stuff that I'm talking about is. That's why I don't expect y'all to understand my music, because y'all still talking about stuff that happened on the corner, right? You go to my YNet 7 channel, if you're watching this on LinkedIn, or if you're watching this on Pasha Paroh or Facebook or wherever you're watching this at. We're streaming everywhere right now. But if you go on my stuff, go on Y.7, we're dealing with national issues. That makes me a target for a lot of reasons. Because I'm trying to improve. My whole life has been about the quality of life and humanity and freedom. And people don't get that. Because they just think something's wrong with you. Because they're part of the brainwashed society. And you're the one that sounds different. So, anyway, I was standing, I'm standing up for me, my teams, my subcontractors. We were blowing numbers out the water. Like, we were doing our numbers. We were like excelling as usual, like I normally do in situations. And but they, just like many of you, they didn't like my attitude, which means position, because when you're in a toxic workplace, and then the way they rule, I ain't even gonna say manage or lead, but the way they rule over the other people was with fear and gaslighting. And you could say, not that they were narcissists, but they had narcissistic tendencies. Well, I understand psychology, and I'm talking to, that's part of why I talk to y'all and everybody else in person or on here the way I do. It's like, I'm not the one that's gonna go and complain to the coworker behind your back because I ain't like what you did. I'm gonna tell you what it was, and then we're gonna go from there. So I'm the one that's telling, what you want to call the leadership or the management, whatever you want to call them, like, look, you may talk to everybody else like that. You may use gaslighting tactics and tendencies on everybody else like that, but you got to understand, I know psychology well enough to know either what you're doing intentionally or negligently, and I need you to understand the effect that has on humanity and ask you to deviate and change, at least when you talk to me. And this is where we started to go wrong, because everybody else was scared. Like, they would be like, oh my God, we can't say, we gotta, and I was like, nah, hold up, man. This ain't how it's gonna work with me. And then we gonna do this. And then the team, we still knocking out numbers. So you know how it go. They get animosity, they get spiteful, and now they see you as a problem because you standing up for your rights. Other people are witnessing the fact of how I leverage situations differently, and now their power structure might be at risk. And it's not because I came in trying to be a problem. It's because I came in not accepting the bullshit that they threw on everybody else for so long that they got used to it. Because see, the word respect means relate. And the reason why a lot of you guys can't relate to me is because I'm just true. And then a lot of people are have attachments, emotional attachments to beliefs. And that's what it is. So they can't relate to someone saying, well, that doesn't work for me. Because this is the science behind what you're doing, whether you know it or not. The same way I talk to some of y'all, like, come late to a meeting, don't show up. I say the same thing to you I say to whoever you would think my supervisor or manager would be at a job. I don't treat anybody any different, because it's not about who you are. It's about the energy and the cause and effect of the actions. Not even just on me alone, but on humanity. So if you're doing it to me, I need you to learn, because you're going to be doing it to other people, or I'm watching you do it to other people. And my question is, you may not know any better. That's the problem. I have to treat everybody like kids. Not everybody. No, most people like children, because they don't know what they don't know. So the first step is, like, do you even know what you're doing? Or are you just so used to doing this that you just think it's okay? Then once you showcase that, this is who you are, then we might gotta just be separated, because that shows me that you're not at a certain level of enlightenment and our appreciation for humanity and the community. But so, go to the Y97 channel. We've covered court cases, we've covered law, we've covered Black's Law Dictionary stuff, we covered all kinds of stuff on here, because you guys know I've also won court cases that other people prior to that laughed at me, said would never happen, I'm crazy and all this stuff about being a traveler, not a driver. So when it got to the point that it got to, because it kept escalating, so what happens is there's this thing called exhaustion of administrative remedies per the Civil Resource Manual. So you have to start internally with issues and allow internal organizations to go through their process to resolve issues. Now, a lot of you guys are at workplaces and you feel like you can't do nothing about nothing. And you can go talk to whoever, wherever. You see my resume, they'll tell you. If I got an issue, the first thing I'm doing, if it's a certain type of issue, like I don't care about bullshit, but if it's a certain type of issue that later on could come back and put you at risk for your job or something, then you need to just document it. And when they be like, hey, what do you want to happen to this? You don't want nothing to happen. I'm not one of those type of people. I just want it documented in case I got to do something with it in the future, because it just needs to be on record, right? This is called a deposition. See, when y'all talk about why Pasha use these words, it's because these words are what we need to know. All right. So, I get it from all sides. I get it from people out in the street, or, I'm saying the average people. I get it from people who want to say they know me, want to say they think they my friends, all this stuff. Fuck all that. You know what I mean? I'm going through shit that y'all can't even relate to. And that's what I'm saying. I'm talking to y'all, not all of you, but I'm talking to people, and they're like, their emotional attachments to beliefs and on such small trivial shit, they're like kids, and then they wonder why they get mad at me and they're frustrated at me. It's because I'm asking them to grow the fuck up. When I make a song talking about DHS, DOD, DOJ, I'm really living this fucking life. Y'all bullshitting. I'm out here fighting for America. And I see y'all celebrating my fall. I'm fighting for y'all, and y'all celebrating my collapse. But see, I'm used to this because that's how it's been my whole fucking life. Because I'm fighting for people who don't even understand the concept of what I'm fighting for. And then the ones that do are weaponizing you all against me to help solidify the failure. This is why you can't relate to the music. This is why you don't know the words I'm using in the song. You hear the words, but you have no idea what they mean. So you don't know what the fuck I'm saying. So I don't care what you think. It's not because I think I'm better than you. It's because I know you're not comprehending and you don't want to. So I don't fight you. I don't fight you to understand. I'm not going to fight you to help, to allow you to help, to allow me to help you. When you don't even know you're part of our destruction. So let's get to it. Exhaustion of administrative remedies. If you got an issue at your job, document the shit. And just sit on it. You ain't got to try to get nobody fired. You ain't trying to get nobody wrote up. You ain't trying to do none of that shit. None of that shit is needed. I just need to document this shit. Somebody threaten you at the job, whatever the case might be, document it. Because that way, if you shoot their ass next week, You got it documented that you had this issue, and now when you shoot them, you have a deposition that say, well, we had this problem, I felt threatened, they came at me, I popped their ass. Like, I don't care what the issue is, just document it. You ain't got to get them in, you're not trying to get them in trouble, just document it for record keeping purposes, because there's this thing called exhaustion of administrative remedies. So then you go through the internal process, and once you go to the internal process, then you can go to the next level with shit. So see, after they was fucking with me, I was like, okay, look, what they did was they took the internal shit and they said, okay, we're gonna review this, that, and the other, because I'm dealing with management, upper management, shit like that. I'm like, nah, this ain't how it's gonna go with me. So then they start getting, you know how they get click around you, fucking up all of a sudden, and shit, your shit start getting sabotaged. They're giving you the fucked up jobs, you know, that type of shit, right? So I was like, okay, cool, I see you game, no problem. I'm used to this type of shit in life. It's nothing I can't handle. So I still kept winning. My team still kept performing. And, you know, then they find ways to get in there and make that shit, you know what I'm saying? So this is what you deal with being an American. All right, and then how do you, you know, let me see here, what else I got, and then we'll get into it. Oh yeah. So then you get to the point where you're like, all right, what they did was they started the internal process, and then they would do shit like, oh, the person that was handling your internal thing after this many months is on this other position now. They're not handling it. This other person's now in that position. Then they would be like, they didn't know nothing about whatever. So they would like have to start over, you know, bullshit like that, right? Because they know they fucked up. And they fucked up a lot of your jobs too. They doing the same thing to you. You just let them do it, and then they think it's okay to do to everybody. Same reason why they pulling cars over today. Because most of y'all ain't said shit about it. Y'all just take the ticket, talk about how fucked up the police are behind their back afterwards, but then you don't do shit. The reason I'm by myself is because I do shit. The reason y'all don't like me is because when I say let's do shit, y'all don't do shit on the level that I want to do shit on. So then when I leave and go do the shit that I need to do, y'all say, oh, Pasha left us. Like I said, I don't care what issue that you dealing with. Look, I know a lot of you, again, you don't know the words, you don't know the terminology. That's okay. If you pay attention to this, if any value, 5 years later when I'm whatever position I'm in, 10 years later when you see this, if you're like upcoming later on in life, like a Bible, read into this and you'll get a message. When I said I was excited about being moved, I just woke up one day and Google had moved me from hip hop to new age as a genre. Because I've been telling you guys from day one, I'm not a rapper, I'm not hip hop. I want to start like my own genre, because I'm not really doing none of the shit that y'all doing. I'm delivering a message. So no, I'm not worried about fitting in or conforming. I'm delivering a fucking message. You guys read the Bible out there, y'all, all this religious people, all this shit, all these biblical folks quoting scriptures. Y'all don't say to the Bible why they use words like that. You go, no, that's what the words meant back then. Let us interpret what they're saying. You don't give the Bible fucking feedback and problems for being true about the wording. That's what I'm saying. I don't like emotional attachments to beliefs. I don't like emotional bullshit, because we can't do shit with everybody all fucked up emotionally. And see, what y'all didn't realize, the level of me that y'all was getting was my attempt at being politically correct, because y'all don't know who the fuck I really am or what I've been through and what I've done in life. Y'all don't know me. Y'all never took the time to get to know me. So you can't know to appreciate how I interact with you. But here we go. So I took this shit to the next level. because I am the one that's won court cases myself. I've won 3 of my own court cases. And what I saw here was I was at a time in my life where, like I said, I had the experience of winning cases, and I was looking at the situation because I was talking to a lot of people at the job all over the place because it's, national operation, international even. Part of them is over in Europe. Actually, I think the HQ for them was over in Europe. What happened was they got merged with Stanley, and they used that as the final way to get rid of me. Right? But I'll tell you the strategicness of that in a moment. So finally, after so much bullshit and them delaying and dragging it out, because the question is in exhaustion of administrative remedy is, when is finality? When is finality final? So I simply needed them to just say they reviewed the shit and they didn't find any fault. That's all I needed them to say, because I knew they were going to do that, because I'm dealing with supervisors and upper management. Of course, they're not going to, right? So I just needed a finality, but they kept dragging it out. Finally, we got to the point where they basically said that, cool, now I can go to the next level. I don't talk shit, I do shit. So I put together my case myself and filed it with the EOC or EEOC. Because here we go again with the exhaustion of administrative remedy. Now you have to go to the EEOC first before you can go to any court cases. Now, the way I was looking at the situation was, see, when I won the court cases for driver versus traveler, it was very powerful because it gave me the paperwork indirectly. They're not gonna just tell you with that type of shit directly to everything, but it gave me the paperwork to show and prove what I've been saying the whole time. The people that was laughing at me, calling me crazy, saying this will never work, all that type of shit, right? So for the people that were ready mentally to see it done, they could have finality, and that it actually works when you apply yourself properly. So what I was looking at this was like, okay, motherfuckers, it was basically a way to sacrifice myself for the people, again, that don't give a fuck about me, right? America. And say, win or lose, it wouldn't matter, because my goal was just to simply bring this to the attention of the nation so that we could do something about improving the quality of life for humanity. During this time period is when all of a sudden I started having car problems. Yeah, all of a sudden I started having car issues. Oh, take it to the dealership. They want 12 grand plus just to fix the piston failure and piston 4 or whatever. Not a failure, but just the code with piston 4. They would have to take it all apart, do all this shit to get into piston 4. Been $12,000 plus. A couple other little minor things wrong with it. It would have been 15 total to fix. So I wound up getting rid of the car, but it was fine because I worked remote. Like I said, I'm handling Tennessee, DC, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina. I work remote. I work from home. I work from right here. No big deal. I'm thinking I don't really need a car right now. I only put 5,000 miles. I put less than 5,000 miles on it in a little over 2 years period. Obviously, it's not really, it's a waste of everything right now. But yeah, during this time is when I start. So when you go on there, I'm saying, yeah, I lost, I got rid of the car. It's haters out there like, oh yeah, I knew he was not right. I knew. Yeah, they were celebrating that shit. Colin, that's cool. I appreciate your happiness and your eagerness to celebrate, the removal of the asset of the liberty of travel for me, the right to travel freely for me. I appreciate those that celebrated that. I appreciate those that went to the different people in their circles and had those conversations that they had about whatever they had regarding that. I appreciate all that because, see, I know why it happened, and I'm just telling you now, almost a year later. Actually, over a year. It was my crazy stuff with that car anyway. I mean, the paint was coming off a little bit because Mercedes had a lawsuit out against them. I didn't know that before. I looked up everything else. I mean, the car was fine when I got it. So I take good care of my shit. So I know I don't like a lot of technology in cars because I know who I am. And I was like, I don't want none of them cars that steer themselves. I'm like, they're gonna take Pasha and steer him off a cliff and then try to say he was drunk and swerved and hit something or crashed and died and killed himself because I'm an activist. I'm a national activist. I'm not local. Like the issues I'm trying to solve, I'm saying we need to get rid of currency and shit like that. Like y'all, like major people are watching me. Okay, so when you see the numbers on my YouTube channel not going up, apparently, or the censorship of everything that I'm doing, I know why. So y'all just think whatever y'all think about what y'all see. I know why what's happening to me is happening to me. It's because of who I am and what I know. That's what I'm saying. Y'all, a lot of people are childish shit. They would have no idea what my music is about, what I'm talking about, or none of this shit because they too busy in the sandbox. So that's why I lost the car. And so I kept going because when you submit for the EEOC, well, then they tell you, oh, your date for that meeting is 3 months from today. So now you gotta stay in the same toxic environment for 3 months before you even know what the next steps are. Meanwhile, they still hammering you, right? Because now retaliation, all this shit. You know how y'all retaliate. Y'all know this retaliation. Remember, I said something to you. I was telling you the truth about a word or something, and you got emotional, and then you wanted to retaliate against me. Yeah, that's what y'all do. Emotional people. Blackball Pasha out of this, keep him out of that, try to make a fool of him, and you wondering why I don't care. It's because to me, it's childish shit. Like, if I deal with it, it's gonna be child abuse. If I waste my time dealing with that, it's child abuse. Because you can't comprehend the level I'm on, so you can't comprehend the level of how I'm gonna come back. And I got too much fucking shit on my mind that if I let it all go at the same time, it's not gonna be all your fault what happens to you. And I'm actually sparing a lot of people because they don't deserve what I have to give. But they like to play. And then they celebrate. Oh, we said this, we said that. You said it, but when I asked you, were you talking about me? You said no. But then you celebrating behind me talking about, oh, you see what I said to him? Yeah, you said it, but when I asked you, were you talking about me at the time? You said no. So I took that for what you said. And if you're talking and you're saying something like, why am I to assume that you're talking about me when there's 7 billion people in the world? Especially if it's something that is a distorted view, not true, or whatever the case may be. Like, why would I even be concerned with what you're talking about? I know the truth. But childish people like, oh, you see that? That's children and shit. That's why we can't do nothing like. That's why the Baltimore Bridge in the water now. I posted it a little while ago. I got the video where I said 2 years ago, I was just looking at that shit. I said the Baltimore Bridge shit reminds me of the video I did 2 years ago talking about why is China owning and controlling ports in the United States to begin with. And around the world, they own so many and involved with so many that it's a national security hazard. They could do anything they want anytime, and we wouldn't even know. But now, 2 years later, people want to ask questions because of the nationality of one person or whatever. And this now they want to talk about that. I was talking about it 2 years ago. That's why I can't really. That's why I'm because I'm tired of bringing things to the community years in advance to say let's do something about it, only for y'all to laugh, mock, ridicule, turn your backs on me, and then years go by. I gotta watch you all suffer for that much time because you don't know any better. Because again, like children, only for you to come back when something happens or somebody says something that it finally clicks and be like, oh, what was he saying 7 years ago? This is why I just do shit by myself, and I just be like, the best I can do by myself is what it is, because I can't fucking trust. That's why the song, Trust No Citizen. I can't trust y'all. Because y'all not connected with the truth. You're not connected with reality. You don't want to arrive. You don't want to bring America to freedom. You want to still play the sandbox United States citizen slavery game because you don't realize you're fucking slaves. All of you. I don't care if you call yourself white, black, whatever. That's what it is. You check the box, your property, United States. Go see the video on YNet 7. But something's wrong with me. So we're going to shut Pasha out because he's different. So I appreciate the collapse that's going on in my life right now because I know why. I know why. You don't know shit. And let's look at this shit, right? All right, so like I said, you waiting. Now I gotta wait 3 months from that date to go over with the EEOC, right? Meanwhile, there's still more shit happening because of course they want to keep retaliating. They want to do what they want to do. They want to escalate because they're trying to get a response out of me. You know, just like y'all do. Y'all be poking the bear and you want to see if you can get a response, and you go brag to your friend. Look what we did on the day. Look what we said on the day. Hey, did you see this? Did you see that? Right? That's, you know, if unless you're the little quiet worker that go in and let them bitch the fuck out of you, and you complain to your neighbor at home about your job, but you go in and don't do shit, then you know what I'm talking about. But majority of people, like I said, are going to be the ones that tell you, talking all this shit to you about blah, 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 and fuck that, you ain't, and fuck that. And then when, you know, I'll show up when I want to show up. You ain't going to tell me when to be. And then when they boss tell them, or they supervisor, they management tell them at work, oh, you need to stop being late. They come telling you, oh, that conversation was necessary. But it wasn't necessary when you was talking to them about the same thing. See, that's the bitch shit. That's the hypocritical shit. When I say something to you, I say it to everybody. That's you want to talk about respect and relate, start there. So here is no secret. The way I operate is there's a difference between a natural person, which if you've been on YNet 7, you've seen this. Some of you guys never seen a court case before. Some of you guys never seen how to properly, for entertainment purposes, this is not legal advice. This is just entertainment on what I was doing for myself, for you motherfuckers to be entertained. And this way, whatever happens to me, you won't have no questions of the truth. Although most of y'all ain't gonna watch this. For the people that do, maybe you could learn something, and maybe we can keep the fight going for humanity. Because everybody ain't human. They don't want to be human. They want to be something else. They AI. They don't realize that AI has been in play through them for decades now. But what you see is here, I separate me, the real me, like the real me. When you go back and look to the song Not Man-Made, and you hear me saying, I know the real you, right? I'm talking about the real you. Not, you don't know the real you, most of y'all. See, so anyway, another story for another day. I'm the natural person. This is why I documented my name in this fashion, upper and lowercase. What they're interested in is the juridical person, which is the all capital. So that's the juridical, that's the entity. But just something while we're looking at this that I can showcase to you, for the people that might want to learn something. I'll fix that later. But anyway, so I put this together in June. So basically it took me a couple of weeks in June to do the research and prep all this. And I finally put it together June 23rd, 2023. See, y'all, think about what y'all was doing, looking at, doing whatever to me, whatever you was doing in June. This is what I was really working on and going through. And like I said, it wasn't just for me. It was about, if I could make this point and make this valid to the nation, I could change the world. That's how I really felt. And even though the people at the job was having their complaints about the same thing and different things, and then telling me their stories of what happened to them behind the scenes, and you know, they're going in for surgeries now and this, that, and the other because of health issues that basically is you could tie back to elevated cortisol levels and shit like that, right? I couldn't even tell them and invite them in on this because I couldn't trust them either. Just like I couldn't trust you. So here I go by myself again, right? So I put this shit together. You do your little writing here to intro the situation, right? Discrimination, which is the high level overview of all the stuff. And there you go, natural person, me. All right, juridical person, blah, 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 blah. You know, toxic workplace is what the high level is, the terminology that they use. So again, when you ask why Pasha's using certain words, it's because this is what the word arena that we need to be able to articulate it in. If you go in the motherfucker talking about you ain't like how you made you feel, they just gonna look at you because you're not telling them nothing. You're not speaking the right, you're not using English, which is actually part of what the problem was. Because the same way y'all don't like me using English, they didn't like me using English. And I'll get into that in a moment. But I don't change for no one because I'm true. So, experience of hostile and toxic workplace, work environment, and the workplace characterized by frequent instances of having to endure offensive conduct. And again, this is the terminology that it needs to be articulated in For the people like, oh, look at these word. Yeah, it's a fucking court case. So anyway, which has become a condition of continued employment and conduct that is severe and pervasive enough to create a work environment that a reasonable person would consider intimidating, hostile, or abusive. Now, I personally don't give a fuck, but if you go in, see, this is why you can't look at someone who go into their job and shoot up the place as being the problem. You can't look at someone who shows up at a school at the student level, they a student, and start popping off all the students at the school. See, because you guys only look at that shit like that because you ain't come from where I'm from. When you got certain levels of problems or certain levels of fuck that shit, I'm tired of that shit, this is what happens in the streets. See, what y'all not used to is the streets. See, all of a sudden when the streets show up at your job, oh my God, can you believe they came into there and shot up everybody? Oh my God, can you believe that the student went into the school and shot up 15 students? Motherfucker, do you remember that this happens in the streets every fucking day? Oh, but when it comes, now that you can see it, and that's the problem. When Pasha's telling y'all shit ahead of time, you can't fucking see it. Until 2 years, 5 years later, when it fucking happens to you. Then all of a sudden you're calling me 7 years. I can't believe they called me 7 years later. They called me 7 years later saying, oh, Pasha, remember you? That means you fucking remembered it for 7 years. 7 years later, they called me, told me, Pasha, this is what you said. Everything you said happened, and we've been fighting and battling, and what are we supposed to do now? Motherfucker, what the fuck? It's 7 years later. Y'all fucking laughed my ass till y'all was blue in the face 7, 8 years ago. Now you calling me, asking me what to do. I had to live with that shit. I had to live with that failure for my community because y'all didn't understand what I was telling y'all at the time. You know how much. So, like, when you look at what a toxic workplace is, I should have pulled this up for you guys, but you'd be surprised. When I first did this research a while ago, like even before this situation, like I had researched it. That's how come I was familiar with it, because when you don't know shit, you don't know, or people perish through the lack of knowledge. So I actually did this research years ago, like years before this even happened. And the list, when you look at the list of what a toxic workplace is defined by the scientists that support and justify it for the AADAA or ADAA, whatever that is, like 80% of the list was shit that I thought you just had to deal with having a job. Like shit, like, does management withhold information from you? What was the last job you had where you felt like management was telling you everything you should know and need to know? So just that right there alone means that you're in a toxic workplace and you don't even know it, because it has an effect on the body. But what does the frog in the boiling water do? No, I'm okay. I can deal with this. Oh, you need to have thick skin. Yeah. And then that's why they say also the AADAA people, scientists, are saying they justify that. They don't know the exact percentage, but when they give you those numbers annually of millions of people die from cardiac arrest or diabetes or this disorder, that disease, they justify and accept that some large percentage of that is simply because these motherfuckers went to work for 20, 30 years, 40 years of their life, and it fucking affected their physical and mental health. But they ain't put this report in your newspaper or on Facebook for you. I had to go dig. I had to go research to find out this is what they already agreed to. They've been approving disability claims for the AADAA or whatever it is for post-traumatic, for workplace related, not like something crazy happened at the job, like, you know, someone came in there and shot up the place and then you were just traumatized. No, regular every day. I went to work, just regular every day, workplace post-traumatic stress disorder. It's a disability claim. Y'all don't even know what's being done to y'all. And this is why you come home and take it out on the neighborhood and everybody else around you, because you don't even know where the source of your fucking anger is coming from. My dumb ass come here and try to do something about it to help save the world. Y'all want to cut me down too, because you're angry about shit you don't even know. So now you see you want to help. Now, yeah, this is why I say you don't realize you're being weaponized. And you know what? It's one of those things where I can't say let's do something to one person. In my mind, I mean, y'all ain't really done nothing crazy. I mean, you know, like I said, the childish shit is childish. Y'all doing whatever that is for the people that's doing that's cool. But I mean, if it gets to that level, like if I do it to one, that means you might as well do it to everybody. And if we're talking about 98% of the nation, then you can start to understand how some of these situations occur that go down in history as like genocides, right? All right. The only difference between the person that went in there and shot 15 people at the school or 20 people at the church or 10 people at the job and Osama bin Laden is budget. That's all the difference is. Osama just had a bigger budget. Or these organizations internationally that's doing whatever, they just got a budget. The person that went into the job and shot 10 people, their budget might only been $700. But see, y'all play too much and you don't know all the time, you don't know who the fuck you're playing with. So you can't even understand the value that some of you can even still hear this today around the nation. Let's get back to this. So, examples of such behavior include verbal and mental abuse, intimidation, belittlement, manipulation, gaslighting, manipulation of employee annual appraisal, which is a testing instrument. So, when they manipulate the numbers, right? And then those numbers go onto your annual appraisal for entertainment purposes. That's what's known as a testing instrument. So if you've had anything in the where you had like, nah, that ain't what my number should be, it should be this, and you know and can showcase that it was manipulated either intentionally or negligently, and then you get a review at the end of the year that's based on those numbers in any way, shape, or form, and it caused you to not get more than what you got, that's a problem. Faulty processes, frustration of purpose, and disparate impact with potential disparate treatment. Management withholding information, and more from supervisors, managers, which may be intently or negligently the success of communications from higher corporate officers. Also in consideration are the actions of coworkers of which supervisors and management and HR were aware of and failed to take corrective action, as it appears being targeted due to one or more of what they call protective characteristics. So if someone at the job does something to you, right? Like I said, you ain't gotta worry about getting them in trouble. But if they do something silly, like sabotage your work, right? You know, that goes on at your workplace. They sabotage your work, and then management don't necessarily do something about it, even if you don't ask for it, then that means that what they're doing is it's kind of like they're promoting it or accepting it, which makes it like, oh, well, if I can do that and there's no recourse, then I can keep doing it, right? So it makes the situation worse. So that makes them liable for that shit too. Things like that you should consider. And for entertainment purposes, look into this shit. All right. So these incidents have created atmosphere. And this, like I said, when you talk to people at the job and then you listen to this, you'll hear that your coworkers are telling you the same shit. So see, my collapse was a strategic, like I said, I lost the car. So now I don't have a car, which ain't the end of the world. But then what happened was, because this was coming up on the table, it takes funding. It takes funding. So by getting rid of me when they did, at the moment where I was rebuilding from, I was gonna grab another little car, like maybe something like 2,500, something just to knock around, get around in, and it put me in a position, because I was already recovering from moving, like a few months before this stuff really started to escalate. I just moved, so I put all this money into all kinds of shit, right? I was investing and I was ready, and all I had to do was build up and replace those funds and build my little stuff back up, and then calmly go ahead and proceed with life, right? Until this derailment. But during that time, though, I'm still having these battles. I'm still fighting for people, and I mean, it's not just me, like other people, and it's how I've always been. So I know some people are gonna say, well, if you keep your mouth closed, think you nothing will happen to you. Yeah, well, I understand that you're not an activist, and you can keep your mouth closed when you see injustice, which is why there's still fucking injustice, because people like you keep your mouth closed. And if you're gonna keep your mouth closed, that means chances are you definitely ain't gonna do shit. So because you ain't gonna do shit and you keep your mouth closed, I'm the crazy one, and people like me are the crazy one. So we get that part, all right? But that's never what I've done in life, and it works great sometimes, and then every now and then it throws you for a hiccup. It's just this one, the way it lined up, it was a big crater I fell in, and that's cool, right? Because that's what happens in life, ups and downs. So, but here's why it is, all right? So these incidents created an atmosphere of, because people was like, I'm afraid. That's why I said they ruled over fear. People were afraid to say they're being done wrong simply because they're afraid to lose their job. Which, I mean, I get it, but at the same time, you got to do something. If we don't do something now, what is the workplace going to be for our next generations coming up? This is why they talking about them like that. Like, oh, they don't want to work, this, that. And no, we don't want the bullshit. Like, I'm actually the first millennial. Per the little date and everything, 1980 August, I'm millennial number 105 off the assembly line. Like, we don't want this bullshit. And from me forward, it probably just gets worse, because we're more tapped in to the more of us are tapped into true, even if we don't know all the details and science of truth. But something ain't right with these workplaces. Why is this? You're making $2.7 million off me, but they want to give you $60,000. So when you tell them how you feel, now you're the problem. Oh, because the people before you, they kept their mouths closed, right? They didn't say nothing. Or the person standing next to you is quiet. They ain't say nothing. And then they talk shit to you, with you, when they not there. But then when it comes time to, let's say something to them, they quiet. So now you're the only one speaking up. That's how my whole life been. So I'm used to it. Right? So, and you don't be like, well, they said it too. No, you just take it and you do it yourself. And then afterwards, they come back and like, well, I'm sure glad you said something. Why the fuck ain't you say nothing with me? Why ain't you do right? All right. So national origin discrimination, right? Basically, see, American is a nationality. United States citizen is something else, right? To be an American and know why you're an American it requires a certain intellect and comprehension of the English language. So when I say we speak English, I'm not trying to insult your ass, which is a lot of probably some of y'all's fucking bullshit. Here's an etymology dictionary. I keep telling you what to do, but you keep rather being emotional and then give you feedback because that's easier for you. It's easier for many of you to say, Pasha's ignorant. He talked to me like this. He said this to me, but you have no fucking idea what the words mean. Then you come back telling me I said something else to you that I didn't say because you done changed the words based on what you felt I said because you didn't know what the fuck I've said to you. You know what I said. That's the craziest thing. I still don't. I mean, when talking to an adult, if you say A, B, C, D, I still to this day don't understand why somebody tell you later what you said to him was R, Q, B, W. And you're like, that's not the words I use. No, but that's how you made me feel when you look, fuck that. What did I say? You said A, B, C, D. What does that mean? Well, it means no, it doesn't mean that. It means A, B, C, D. That's what the fuck I said. But because United States citizens don't speak English, they don't know what Americans are saying, or they don't know what the contracts say. And they definitely don't know what the law books say because they can't comprehend it. They have emotional attachments to beliefs of what they believe the words mean. English is equivocal language. So y'all thought I was saying all this shit to you to belittle y'all or to put you down or whatever. No, I'm telling you what the fuck you have to know. Because I thought I was dealing with leaders that wanted to put the people that's beneath them, their teams, their followers, their fans into a position and we could work together to arrive at freedom, but instead they'd rather destroy me so they can remain comfortable. Just like Securitas did. You guys both did the same thing. So when I say it's not that I wasn't smart enough, it's that I was fucking outnumbered. It's because I'm fighting this battle against you in this community, the neighbor that don't like me. I'm fighting this battle against the job. I'm fighting this battle against the U.S. Marshals. I'm fighting this battle against you pick the alphabet. You pick the alphabet boys. That's why, like I said, when I make the song that say DOD, DOJ, that I'm really living this life. Y'all have no fucking idea. But I couldn't tell y'all because I was in the middle of trying to fucking save the world. Anyway, so let's continue. National origin. So English, like true English, is related to the nationality of being American. So what happens is that makes it mean that I've been subjected to discriminatory treatment based on national origin. Why? Because the language was the issue. Now, see, most people only associate this in a case where, like, it's someone who speaks Spanish, but language is language. It didn't define it as it had to be technically a foreign language, because I'll show you a case. Well, what the case was, example was, I have it documented down here below, but anyway, in one of the case citations I pulled in this case, they actually won it because it was Spanish people speaking in that case. But what was said was this: one Spanish person was being targeted because they could speak English better than the rest of them, this new one that came in. And because they could speak English better than their co-workers, the threat was to the rest of them, they would be perceived and accepted for other positions that they wouldn't be able to get because they could speak the language better. and this was all documented in that case, that the reason this occurred, that this attacks happened to, I don't use the word attack, I don't mean like, it's what the word means, shut the fuck up. So the attacks against them happened, and the retaliate, and the, you know, all this stuff that happened to them was simply because they had a better use and understanding and comprehension of the English language than their coworkers. Isn't that what I y'all do the same thing to me every day? But see, when it's on the job and they tell you, because these motherfuckers actually told me, hey, are you an attorney? I'm like, I'm laughing it off like, nah, but you know, I won 3 court cases myself. Like I talk the same way to everybody. I don't give a fuck because it's true, right? This who I am. Oh, well, we want you to stop sounding like one here. What the fuck you mean? Yeah, you're using words that I'm using English. What the fuck's the problem? See, because I'm used to being the vice chairman for the maintenance and reliability chapter for 3M Global, having meetings dealing with shit in Singapore. Like, this is how we talk. What's the consideration for performance? What's this? What's that? Like, what the fuck is wrong? I don't know what do you speak? You got a question, ask me what you need to know, but don't tell me how to fucking talk. I don't tell you that you should talk like this on a normal basis. I have fun in conversation sharing what words really mean with you, but I don't convert you into saying, now next time use the word nice like this, or don't say, you know what I mean? I'll tell you why I don't use a word, or why I don't use love as a verb. I'll tell you what about me. But now when you start to fucking manipulate shit because, oh, I speak English, now you're discriminating based on national origin. And then you got your basic discrimination, because now, you know, you get all this stuff, retaliation, mocking, all this bullshit, boom, right? So people that don't know, religion discrimination is discrimination. Now, in ambiguity, the question is, how do you define religion? A lot of the check boxes, you could say the United States citizens are part of a religion. They don't know it, they don't look at it like that, but they are. This is why the churches are under the United States Corporation, because the United States can be seen as a religion itself. You have these beliefs in it, you have these beliefs in what that makes you, and none of it we've reviewed on the channel and in Facebook and all this stuff, how the word profession itself, being professional, it actually means a religious cult, religious order, right? So how do you truly define religion when you're talking about this workplace situation, or you're talking about your supervisor telling you basically how you need to behave and get checked on these check boxes to be, you know, deemed as worthy? Isn't that what y'all do with y'all God? So per Black's Law Dictionary, 3rd edition, religion has reference to man's relation to divinity, to reverence, worship, obedience, and submission to man. Let's go back over that. Religion has reference to man's relation to divinity, to reverence, worship, obedience, and submission to mandates and precepts of supernatural or superior beings. At your workplace, don't your supervisor exercise being a superior being to your position? Oh, and in its broadest sense includes all forms of belief in the existence of superior beings exercising power over human beings by volition, imposing rules of conduct with future rewards and punishment. Oh, now you see why they call professional. You're proclaiming that you're going into a religious cult, because your supervisor exercising power over human beings, you, by volition, imposing rules of conduct with future rewards and punishments. You're in a fucking cult. So I observed my supervisors, managers demanding that I don't sound like an attorney and blah, 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 harass me based on language and this, that, and the other. And there is no way to define what sounding like an attorney is. Is this an attempt to impose his religion or belief that people that look like me or in my position should not speak intelligently? The etymology of the word God, little God, means supreme being, deity. So based on the Black's Law Dictionary, 3rd edition, 1933, the definition of religion that we just went over, it appears they're either wanting me to adopt their religion and or attempting to forcefully become my God. Like, I'm consistent. And see, that's the problem with being true. It's fake people. They might be true for a moment. They may not know they're true. They might be not knowing when they false. They might not know they lying because they might be talking about beliefs and they don't know that what they're believing is a lie. But this is why I can't really judge y'all, because I don't really know necessarily if you're just on purpose, like if you're weaponizing it, or you just really don't know any better. So the reason I get distant is because you don't know what the fuck you're doing. And if you playing with a bomb, I don't want to go off on you. But when I keep telling you, look, this, that, and the other, and you keep trying to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, or you keep trying to tell me that whatever, okay, cool. Now we somewhere else with it, because now you illustrated you don't want to process truth. But when they talk to y'all about, oh, Pasha don't fuck with us. No, Pasha gave y'all space to be who you want to be, because you didn't want to be real with me. Like I said, whether you knew it or not. So you went and got emotional. Instead of talking to me about it, you went and talked to everybody else about me. And now they got shit to say about me that they don't even know me. Because they talked to someone who didn't know me, who said they knew me, about something I said to them that they don't even know what the fuck I said. So yeah, I'm being destroyed because of my intellect, like a lot of you. So when I say I test in the top 2% in the nation, it's not telling you it's because I'm smart. It's telling you it's a fucking prison, and I'm really at wit's end about it, dealing with society. Y'all think I'm talking shit about society because y'all think I'm talking shit. No, I'm telling you how we can become a sustainable community. It said our people perish due to lack of knowledge. That's why I got a knowledge channel that many of y'all don't watch. So you got abuse of power situation there, and this, that, and blah, blah, blah. Retaliation, that makes sense. You guys probably get the gist of that without any explanation. Possible wage theft. I said possible because it kind of could go anyway. Like, I'm okay with saying I don't know what I don't know, right? So this is possible because when you manipulate the numbers, if it can be proven that you did it purposely, now you're purposely affecting that wage increase or what have you, right? And like I said, I'm the natural person, and they're dealing with the juridical person, and this how you maneuver in these spaces. But so there's possible wage theft for y'all that's dealing with that, right? And then this was the one that I was really interested in. And I put possible here because the thing about it is, here's the consensus. When I was looking at this, when you look at how do you define the injury, for entertainment purposes, it's not legal advice. But when you look at how you define an injury, the claim of being injured starts when the person realizes they have an injury and or have been injured. So if you think physically, like something happened to you at work physically, even if it doesn't show up till a week, months, a couple months later, they can go back and do the trace and trace it back to, oh, this is what caused that injury. When you're talking about things that's on, the thing about, like, we were talking about post-traumatic stress disorder, high cortisol levels that actually causes entire systems in the body to shut down and fail, stuff like that, right? That causes the heart attacks later on in life, shit like that. It's not necessarily, by the time you see it, it's from built up from so long that it's too late. You don't even know. That's why people are dying. They never said, oh, my job, was right. Like we talked about earlier. So what happens is, for example, when you're talking to your friends, family, or like I showed you, the job, management withholding information from you is part of a toxic workplace because it creates all these conditions in your mind that affects you chemically, and then your body has problems, diseases, and disorders from the anxiety, the stress, to whatever. Even if you feel like, oh, I'm playing it cool. That's what key word is, you playing it cool. You felt that shit. Or you so programmed to just pretend that you don't feel it, doesn't mean that the body's not still being affected by it, and it's dripping the like we talked about the other day, the brain drips the painkiller into your system that's the equivalent of morphine, and you don't feel the pain, doesn't mean your body doesn't know it's there, and it's still the damage is being done. See, that's the problem. That's the frog in the boiling water. So what happens is, if you don't know you're being injured, then you don't know you're being injured. Once you know you're being injured, you can now say, I have an injury. Now, having knowledge, my contest would have been like the rest of them. I know were pretty good, except for the ones I put possible on. This is what I was going to say. But the question is, when do you define knowing that you've been and or being injured? The thing is, by knowing the psychology beforehand, before you even start at the company, you realize is that those actions are basically the equivalent of someone approaching you with a knife or a gun. And then what are your rights if someone in the street approaches you with a gun or a knife pulled on you? What happens when you look at the gaslighting your supervisor puts you through, their narcissistic tendencies, all the other psychological bullshit they're doing to you, right? Retaliation in the work. What if you look at all of that shit, because now you understand the chemical consequences of it? What happens when you look at that shit equivalently to someone approaching you with a gun or a knife? Now you see why I give y'all space. I told all of y'all that's in that situation with me. I know, whether you told the truth to other people or not. I've had the conversation with you. I was like, look, when you do this or that, I don't know if you know it, but this is what you're doing based on the psychology. And then you go tell me, okay, fine. You don't want to look it up, or you don't want to learn it, or do you already know it and you're actually truly weaponizing it against me? Either way, I need to give you space. The only difference is when you go to a workplace and you tell your supervisor, look, I'm gonna give you space. How long does that work for you before they start wanting to infringe upon your space because they feel like they're the supervisor, and they're gonna tell you how you need, they're gonna make you their religious cult member. So if you see someone is injuring you and this stuff has been done for you and you know the psychology, then you already know at that moment, you know now you've been injured versus having to wait until you have the heart attack or the stroke to wonder where it came from and maybe be able to backtrack it. Nah, I know what the fuck you doing to me right now. That's why I'm telling you, let's do something different. But see, then what y'all do is y'all go, "Oh, Pasha's so weak. I didn't show for a meeting and I was busy and then I did this and then he said, why you can't? What happened?" And I said, "Well, fuck it, I ain't." And then he got rid of me because of that. No, I got rid of you because it's fucking a trust issue. You're every time I schedule something with you now, I gotta have anxiety on if you're gonna show or not. I don't want that stress in my life. But because you don't understand the psychology, or maybe you're doing it intentionally weaponized against me, or maybe you saw that as, hey, we'll tie up his time for an hour and we're gonna help make him fall because you saw something, you saw an opportunity, you didn't know what it was, but you maybe saw some weakness. Because I was dealing with all these other issues that you didn't know, but you saw a weakness and you're like, oh, maybe we can kick the chair out from under him now because he looks like he's weak. No, I'm fucking so strong. I'm fighting all this shit. And you know what? If I take the L, fine. You know what I mean? Fine. It's a real fucking L. It's the realest fucking L I took in life. Because I'm not only fighting you, I'm fighting job, I'm fighting EEOC, I'm fighting government agencies, and y'all wonder why it took me a year to learn how to do music from scratch by myself with no help, like make my own beats. I'm doing all this while I'm learning how to make beats from scratch with nobody fucking helping me, no training. And I still put out 100 beats. So fuck you. And your opinion of me that don't know shit about me. I'm out here trying to fucking save America, and you out here don't even know you part of the weapon used against it. Talking shit about me. Fuck you. Right? That's why you don't know the music, because you don't know what the words mean. I just never judged you for it. When you gave me your little opinions, I just said, okay, you don't know that you need to hear the song 8 times before you can even make a decision. You don't know the science behind it. You heard 30 seconds of it, gonna try to tell me what you think. You don't know shit. Because you don't know the craft. You just know what someone told you. Let's get back to this. So then the possibility of workplace injury, because, like I said here, he sustained workplace injuries due to inadequate safety measures and negligence, and many intentional and or negligent acts by his employer that could be interpreted as egregious or malicious. The torts have been ongoing while performing job duties, and effects last while not performing job duties as well. And I expressed that in detail, like I went over with you. And then we had the additional tort claims of conspiracy, because when supervisors get together with other supervisors and management and say, "Oh, this is what we're going to do, and we're going to change this and manipulate that, and then we're going to make this different, and we're not going to do that," and then and they put things together to make you in a fucked up. That's conspiracy. But the difference is that's criminal, right? And then there's abuse of power, because you're using your position as a supervisor and the perceived power that comes with that to do all of this shit. So, yeah, right? All this is here. Same thing that happens to you on the streets happens to you at work, right? So what you got? Now that they got their little clique, their little band together, running a little circle around behind my back and shit, what you get? You get emotional distress. You get financial losses. You get career and professional development issues. Your reputation and well-being is fucked up. And there's other damages. This is the L I took for America. And then the little people around that I've been trying to help all this time, and the people they've been doing whatever, saw the moment to strike. Little business owners on Alignable and shit. Everybody, people in the community, small business owners, people around, and this was their moment. So celebrate your moment. That's why I put the song together. And the city came together. I'm a natural disaster. Y'all don't understand what the fuck I'm saying to y'all. Because y'all can't fucking relate to doing real shit. Give me a second here. I guess I'll show you this. So the summary was manipulation of a testing instrument, which is an employee annual appraisal, language discrimination, which is under national origin. So discrimination, national origin, potential injury of difference in rate of pay, injury by discrimination, injury by unsafe workplace, injury by sabotage and or conspiracy, injury by negligence, injury by intended or unintended damage to reputation, which affect my ability to produce efficiently. So while the streets was doing the same thing to me for their emotional bullshit reasons on whatever level, while business networking groups was doing the same thing to me because they're bullshit for emotional level shit, I'm actually fighting with an international company and their team of attorneys for the same shit. So now I'm on whatever list that puts me on, and that's part of why I know that's part of in the background why I can't get another job right now. So I signed up for this life, being American. I always fought for my people. Let me see here. What else is there? Do I want to show you? Because I mean, it's a lot of pages, but I don't need to show you everything, and I don't need to disclose like names and shit, and emails. But hold on one second here, though. I can't show you that because it's a name on it. Like it's a you know how you get your numbers for the. I was gonna show you that, but it's a spreadsheet, so it's got other people's names on it. I don't want to do that. But I could show you how they manipulated the numbers because I got documentation of all of it. So anyway, what happened was they saw the opportunity on they got rid of me at the right time for them, wrong time for me, and it put me in a financial situation, and I was paddling for a long time, and you have some ups and downs, some good surges just to stay afloat and rebound. I never fully recovered. EEOC tried to say it wasn't of course they're gonna try to say no, You don't have a case, so but that don't mean nothing, because what you needed from them was just the finality. So once they say no, I can still take it to court. But then court, just to file the court case, just to file it was $200, and then like there's these other steps in the process that's going to cost funds, and I just didn't have the surplus. Literally, I know that sounds crazy, but I really just didn't have. I didn't have it, and I didn't have it, and nobody would help me with anything. So, despite how much I've helped people in the past, nobody was there for me. And that's not a cry or a complaint. It's just an observation. We're all grown here. So I brought this on myself for the better sake of humanity. And this is what happens. Sometimes you win some, you lose some. Like I said, sometimes I wind up getting the company spend $10,000 on bottled water for everybody. I do all these other amazing things. I could give you the whole checklist in the last 20 years, 25 years from what I've done in the community and in corporate America for the people. And sometimes you wind up being a sacrifice yourself. So I got that far, and I couldn't get the court case in time. You get a certain period of time to submit it, and because I was behind on everything at that time, I just didn't have it. And so that's why I'm in the situation I'm in, and that could be why I don't know, but you know what I mean. So just want to give you clarity, because I know some of you guys out there are dealing with the same thing, and my goal was to be able to take this to court, bring it to the national attention, so that we could do something different, or demand more quality of life for people in the workplace. And because I do everything on my own, because I can't trust no citizen. So I'm not really worried about me. That's what I meant for those that didn't understand my Facebook post about why I feel like I failed the nation, America, that is, because I did this and I couldn't do it all. And despite reaching out to people asking for help, everybody just watched. So I get it. I really get it. I don't blame none of y'all. I'm grateful for all the time that we shared. Pasha Paroh, YNS7. Thank you for tuning.